There are many different ways that we can examine culture. In 1884, culture was considered a complex whole of knowledge, beliefs, art and morals which are acquired by a member of society. It's also considered a way of life of a group of people, including their behaviours, beliefs, values, which has been passed along generations, as well as a collective programming of the mind that distinguishes members of different groups. This was theorised by Hofstede. To better understand culture, we can look at Hofstede's theory of cultural dimensions, which includes power distance, individualism versus collectivism, masculinity versus femininity, uncertainty avoidance, long-term versus short-term orientation, and indulgent versus restraint. Through looking at our subject today, we will find out more about her cultural and these dimensions. I recently spoke to our subject B about her cultural experiences. She is an 18 to 24-year-old female from Mumbai, India, but despite this identifies as Roman Catholic faith. She is single and currently studying postgraduate education, which is her master's degree, which in the last 18 months has brought her from home in Mumbai to living in Perth, Australia. She describes this as a large influence on her current person and culture. The degree of this influence will be examined through Hofstede's dimensions, including power distance. Power distance is the extent to which less powerful members of societies and institutions within a country expect and accept that power is distributed unequally. Australia is known to have very low power distance with open communication between peers, whilst India features rather high power distance. Our subject had a more favourable working experience in Australia due to this low power distance, where there was no top-down approach and she was able to communicate openly with superiors. She believed in a decentralised power where her superiors and people in power were kept in check. The fundamental issue in masculinity versus femininity is what motivates people, wanting to be the best and succeed, which is a masculine trait, or appreciating and nurturing the quality of life. Australia is thought to be quite a masculine nation, where behaviour in school, work and play are based on shared values that people should strive to be the best they can be and the winner takes all. Similarly, in India, validation comes in the form of success and achievement and is usually flaunted in the workplace. For our subject, there was an influence of both cultures, which meant that she also was very strongly focused on achievement and success as her main motivational factors in both work and university. Individualism versus collectivism is the degree of independence a society maintains among its members. Australia is thought of as a highly individualist culture. We tend to look after ourselves and our immediate families, and in the business world, employees are expected to be self-reliant and display initiative. India lies somewhere in the middle, where there are some individualist traits, but people still look out for the greater good. Our subject identifies as individual. Her priorities and needs come first. She has a small but strong family unit, but still has some concern for the opinions of others. Uncertainty avoidance is the extent to which members of a culture feel threatened by ambiguous or unknown situations, and the extent to which they create beliefs and institutions to try and avoid these. India ranks quite lowly on this scale, where there is an acceptance of imperfection and patience and tolerance for the unexpected is high. Australia is also very intermediate on this scale. Our subject, on the other hand, identifies with high uncertainty avoidance. She thrives from structure and routine, is very change adverse and hates task avoidance, but attributes this factor largely towards her Catholic faith. Short versus long-term orientation looks at how every society has to maintain some links with its own past while dealing with the challenges and presence of the future. Within Australia, we exhibit great respect for traditions, a relatively small propensity to save for the future and a focus on achieving quick results, whereas in India they are quite neutral. Our subject, however, identifies as largely long-term orientated, where she is modest in her achievements and views education as very important. She doesn't care for much tradition and mentioned the concept of Hindu karma and its cyclical nature as an influence of her long-term orientation. Indulgence versus restraint looks at the extent to which people try to control their desires and impulses. Within Australia, we place a high level of importance on leisure time, act as they please, and tend to spend money as they wish, as well as remain positive. India, on the other hand, is a more restrained society with a tendency towards pessimism and cynicism. Our subject identified somewhere in the middle and enjoyed an optimistic outlook on life, likes having fun, but also has a very serious nature and a low level of indulgence where she enjoys routine. Through this examination, we can understand that the subject's cultural dimensions didn't exactly match up with her cultural environment. Instead, we can look at the influences of culture, including the cultural environment, i.e. her Indian background, her situational environment, i.e. her current Australian education, and her organisational environment, being her workplace or current university education. All of these factors may influence her culture. When dealing with individuals from different cultures, we need to have an action plan to best avoid biases through avoiding cultural stereotyping, viewing cultural differences in neutral terms, and being open-minded for the unexpected.